Today we are discussing the assignment module. We continue talking about how to set up the assignments and how to use them with your students. We've already discussed all the setup, all the technical setup questions in our first webinar. Today we will be focusing more on how to assess students' works, how to provide your valuable feedback, and how to help them improve their language skills through your feedback. Because we are speaking about assignments today, we expect our students to work on their productive skills, right? Writing and speaking. And it is even more important for your students to hear back from you when they're working on their productive skills, because this is not that can be assessed through a quiz or just a random test, right? They need your feedback, they need your expertise in order to see what gaps they have, what areas they still need to work on, and where and how they can improve. Luckily for us, there are numerous ways on how you can assess your students' work and provide your feedback on Avenue. And it's absolutely up to you which one to use. Today, I will show you a few examples of different assessment options available for you in the assignment module on Avenue. It doesn't mean that you have to use everything, right? You can pick and choose those options that work best for your students, that work best for you. And they will also depend on the type of the assignment that you have. For example, either it's a skill building task or a skill using task if you're using this assignment for summative or formative assessment. So you will see that different types of assessment on Avenue provide different touch upon different aspects of how you can provide your feedback. So I will start sharing my screen now. Okay, I think I need this one. Okay, I need this course. Can someone please confirm in the chat box that you can see my screen? Yes, okay, wonderful. So I think I will turn my video off. Okay. So this is the course that we've used with you in our first webinar, right? You can see that we still have here our daily writing prompts that we set up. I've changed the dates to make sure that they are still visible to us. We won't need them per se today, but just as a reminder to you that how you can arrange your assignments on Avenue. So as I've mentioned earlier, there are different types of the ways how you can assess students in Avenue. And you will be able to customize a lot of settings and adapt those settings to your context. So there are 3 grading methods. It is simple direct method, it is marking guide, and it is a rubric method. We've already discussed how to set up rubrics with you in our first session, but we mostly discussed how to the technical side of that question, right? So how to set up everything so it works and students can have access to the rubric before they begin working on your assignment. So let's start with the simple direct method. Basically, for simple direct method, you will be given an opportunity to choose between points or scale. I've already pre-set up a few activities for you to save us some time, and I will show you how everything looks behind the scenes. So this is my activity where I wanted to demonstrate you the points. You go to your activity, to the edit settings. So you have your assignment name, you have your description, you set up your the availability, the due dates if you need them, submission type. So basically everything we discussed last time. And then we go straight to grades. Here you can see that I have selected simple direct grading as a grading method, and I have a choice either to use points or scale or none. Well, if you do not want to provide any kind of tangible scores to your students, you can choose none. If you still want to give them an opportunity to evaluate their work at, in some way, you use points or scale. So let's talk about points first. Here you can set up any maximum grade you wish. If your students, for example, if you prefer to assess your students within, let's say, from 0 to 10, you can easily change it to 10. If your students are okay with percentage and are more used to it, then you can use 100. It's absolutely up to you. You can use 5 if you wish, or 30. So anything that makes sense to both you and your students. There is also, regardless of what maximum grade you set up here, there is a field which is called grade to pass, where you can indicate, let's say, let's put 70, indicate the number of points your students need to pass this assignment. For example, if they do not collect 70 points, then they will need to resubmit their work to you. I'm not sure if this is something we might need in the language learning context. Probably you can just leave it empty, but if for any reason you need this field, you know where to find it. Okay, so yes, and basically this is it. You just go to grades, you choose simple direct grading and points. Okay, let's save it and display. And you can see that I already have one submission here. So let's see how it looks like when someone submits a work to us. This is my student. Let's go to grade. Don't pay attention to this gibberish. It's just a placeholder text I've used for all the assignments. It's just for you to see how the text will look like in this form. Okay, so you will be able to read the work of the student and then provide the grade out of 100. So let's say you decided that to put 75. Right? And you also are given an opportunity to provide because basically grade is not really self-explanatory. Your student might not understand why they got 75, not 100 or not, not 100 or not 85. So here you might provide some further comments on why they have this, on why they got this score. And it's always nice for students to read your comments and to hear from you. I'm not focusing on providing feedback comments here for now. We will be discussing providing feedback and different types of feedback you can provide on Avenue closer to the end of the session. Okay, so once you're happy with the score, you save changes. Here at the bottom, you can see that there is a check mark, notify students. It's selected by default, and once you click on save changes, your student will receive an email that that their work has been graded, and they will be able to go back to their account and check their grade. If you don't want this, you can just uncheck this checkbox. But I think it's a great opportunity to keep your students engaged. Okay, so let's go back to the course and how it will look like for our student. I'm going to a different account. This is my student account. Can you please confirm in the chat box if you can see the new screen? It is Lee's account. Yes, okay, wonderful. Thank you. So if we go back to simple, if she logs into her account and she goes to this activity that we've just graded, she will be able to see her grade. If I left the comments, she would see them here as well. Okay. So basically, it's pretty straightforward, both for teacher and the teacher and the student. Okay, I'm going back to my course. Another simple direct grading option that I wanted to show you is called scale. Okay, so let's go to this activity. Okay, you repeat absolutely the same steps and go to grade. Here we can choose scale we want. I've pre-set up a few additional scales, but by default, you will have this default competence scale, which will give you options of competent or not yet competent. And there is separate and connected ways of knowing, which will give you options of mostly connected knowing, separate and connected, and mostly separate knowing. I believe these scales might be a little bit, might not be really clear to your language students, and they might not cover everything you want. They might not provide the feedback that you wanted to share through this scale option, right? So another way is to create a new scale. To create a new scale, you need to go to grades. Okay, here in your navigation drawer. Yeah, it's okay, we can leave it for now. We will save changes later. In your navigation drawer, we go to grades. Okay, and this is, oh, sorry. And here's the list of your students and their activities. We do not need it for now. What we need is scales. Okay, so we go to scales. These are the scales that I've pre-set up. Depending on your learners' needs, on what they want to, on their language level, if they're low-level students, or so depending on a variety of factors, you can set up a variety of scales. For example, you can choose the star rating scale. So instead of words, you will include these stars, right? And grade them from 0 to 5. If you have lower language learners, or if you're working with younger adults, you can even set up an emoji scale. I will show you how it works in a second. Okay, so for now, let's create a new one. What we need to do is to click on add a new scale. You provide a name. Let's say new scale, right? Or whatever you want. And the scale as it is. So in this scale box, you need to indicate each item of your scale, and they should be separated by a comma. You can use as many options as you want here, and you can put anything you wish here. Okay, just make sure that it makes sense, and your students will understand what you meant by this or that scale. As an example, we can use this scale if poor, acceptable, exceed expectations, outstanding. If there are any Harry Potter fans, you might recognize Owl's grading scale. And basically this is it, right? There is a standard scale check mark here. I can see this because I am the moderator and I have access to set it up. Or really, no, I don't. No, even I don't have this access. So basically the standard scale will be, if you set up a standard scale, it will be available for everyone using Avenue, but we do not want this. That's why it's turned off for now. And we save changes. Okay, so this is our new scale. If we go back to our activities, okay, we scroll all the way down to grades. And now here you can see that there is an emoji scale that I pre-set up, star rating scale, and there is also a new scale that we've just set up together. Okay, so let's choose it for now. And this is basically it. We save and display. Okay, we don't have any submissions here yet, but it doesn't matter. We can still see how our scale will look like. It's either no grade or the list that we've just pre-set up. Okay, we can also change the scale to, let's change it to the emoji scale, and you will see how it looks like. So once you preset up the scale, it will be available for your course, and you can reuse them and recycle it in different activities, not necessarily this one. So it will be available for you, and it's saved here as a template. Okay. And here are our emojis. Once your student submits their work and we grade this work, she will be able to see whatever emoji you have. Okay, how do I put emojis in the scale box? Here is the list of emojis that I used. I'm putting it into the chat box. Yes, so you can just copy them. Oh, actually, because I've pasted them into the Word document, they're no longer colorful. But I can share a website where I took them from. It's called Emojipedia. You basically search for any emoji you want and paste it there. Okay, it's just, sorry, Word changed the. Okay, give me 1 second. I will show you how they're supposed to look. Okay, oh, not this one. So in the website that I've just shared with you, you can find anything you want. If you, to everyone, okay. If you, just give me 1 second. Oh no, it's not my problem. It's just because the Zoom chat box changes everything. So those are emojis, and here is the star scale. But you can, if you copy the emojis from the website that I shared, you will be able to include those pretty colorful ones, okay, and the stars. Basically, those are just characters that are recognized. We didn't see the website you shared. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I accidentally sent it to someone privately. Okay, this is Emojipedia. So if you go there, you can choose any emoji you want. You can search, you can use it as a search engine and search. For example, you can use an image of a sun for excellent, an image of, I don't know, a storm or cloud for not so good, depending on whatever, on how you want to represent your grading scale. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So let's move on. So as you've noticed, points and scales are pretty straightforward, but just make sure that if you choose this grading method, you provide additional feedback so that your students know what you, how you came up with this or that score or grading scale point. Okay. So the next grading option that I wanted to share with you is called marking guide. We will do it from scratch with you together, but once you set up your first marking guide, you will be able to reuse it for any activity within your course. You will see that marking guide, it's very similar to a rubric, even though it's structured a little bit differently. So let's go to my activity. When you go to grades, you will be able to select marking guide here, okay? Because we do not have it set up yet, we will be prompted to set up a new marking guide. Okay. Here, we can define new one from scratch, or we can reuse the template that we already have. I don't have any templates for now, so let's do it together. When you set up a marking guide, it will ask you for a name. Just make sure that whatever name you choose, you will be able to recognize it in the future. My example is about paragraph writing and assessing paragraph writing skills. So we can name it paragraph writing. Okay. If you are going to recycle it this year or maybe in a few years, you might want to add the description just to remind yourself what this marking guide is for, right? For what situations, what activities, and so on and so forth. It's really easy and simple to set up. All you need to do is to click here to add the name of the criteria that you will be assessing, that you will be using to assess your students. So let's start with the topic sentence, right? So if we ask them to write a paragraph, we need to come up with criteria how we will be assessing their writing sample. So let's start with the topic sentence. You can also provide additional details to your students. So what they need to focus on and what they need to pay special attention to. There is also description for markers. Basically, it's for you. I think it's redundant in our case because most of you are the only teacher in your course. And you also add maximum score if you wish. So let's say 25, okay? We add another one. For example, we will be assessing how they are good with choosing supporting details and representing them in their paragraph. Okay, and we will give 40 points for this one. We add a new we add, let's say we will add a concluding statement. And we provide brief description to your students. Let's say we give them 25 points. And the last one, transitions. We want our students to also focus on using transitions because this is, for example, what you've discussed with them during your last live session. Okay, and we will give 10 points for transitions. And this is it. Our marking guide is set up. Marking guide also has this grading option, also has frequently used comments. It is absolutely optional. You don't have to do this. But when you give one assignment to a large number of students, let's say you have 20 students in your class, there is a chance that you will have to provide the same feedback, the same comment to different students over and over again. To save you up some time, you can create a list of frequently used comments. For example, if you don't want to provide any specific feedback to your student, but just want to encourage them or want them to do something extra in order to improve, you can create like a general list of comments that you might be using. But again, it's optional. For example, we can put, okay, good job. We can have something I like how you organized your supporting details. You might want to include the example, a sample comment, something like, please review the use of transitions, let me know if you have any questions, and so on and so forth. And you can always update this list if, for example, you, after assigning this first project, you realize that you provided one certain comment to a large number of students and you haven't included here, so you will have this chance to go back and add it for future use. Okay, so here you can choose options either to show guide definition to students. Yes, because this is why we provided them for our students. And you can also show marks per criterion to students. It's up to you. If you don't use scores with your students, you can just uncheck it. And then your students will be able to see the criteria you were using and your comments next to each other. Okay, I will leave it for now and we will see how it looks. So everything we need to do is to click on Save Marking Guide and make it ready. Okay, even though I don't have submissions here. Oh, actually, let's go back and quickly submit a file so that you can see how it looks like. It was Marking Guide. So this is my student's account. Add submission. Okay, save changes. Okay, she has just submitted her work. We go back to our teacher's account, hit refresh, and we can see that there is something submitted for grading. Here you can see all your criteria, right? With all your comments. You can leave your feedback. If you, for example, have it in the list of your frequently used comments, you can just select it and it will save you some time. You assign number of points per each field. Okay, we can insert another comment. And this is it. We save changes and our student will receive an email notification. Let's go back to her account. Okay. And you will be able, if she scrolls down, she will be able to see my comments and the scores that I have just assigned to her. Okay. I forgot to mention, regardless of what grading option you choose, try to make this decision before you open this activity to your students. Because once your students will start submitting their assignments, you either won't be able to change the grading type, or it might cause some problems. For example, those students who have submitted their work will have to resubmit it again. And it doesn't make sense for one part of your students being graded, for example, using scale, and other part of your class being graded by using the marking guide, right? So just think it through and make sure you know which option you want to use before opening up the assignment for your students. When we use this option, we don't need to assign points. No, it's absolutely up to you. So it's your choice. If you want your students to have some tangible results, you can provide this an opportunity for them to see their scores. If you don't want, and you just want them, if you just want to set it up this way that they only see your criteria and then your feedback next to each field, you just uncheck that box where it says show scores to the student. Okay, no problem. And the last but not least grading option that's available to you is rubrics, right? We've already set up a rubric last time. It was your first house. We created a rubric we used a template. If you missed the webinar last time, the first part, we discussed that there is on Avenue, you have access to the template rubrics that are aligned with the CLB framework. You will just need to restore them because we do not keep them available right away. You need to restore them, kind of uncarve them, and it's just a few steps that you need to do. The instructions are really simple. You can watch the recording of our first webinar if you missed it, just in case. So let's see how our activity looks like. So that was our task. If we view the submissions, actually, let's go back to the activity. So we have, if we go to grades, some grades have already been awarded. Oh, this is the problem that I've told you about, because I didn't set up rubric at first and use points. Apparently, when I did some testing or something, I got this error message. So we have rubric here as our grading method. We do not need grade to pass, so I will delete it. And I already have a couple of assignment submissions. Okay, maybe not this one. Okay, this one. When a student submits a work to you and you have rubrics as your grading method, you will be able to see both their work and your rubric on the right-hand side of your screen. If you do not have a large monitor, for example, right now I am using my laptop screen, and that's why I cannot see the rubric, like the far right column, and I have to scroll all the way to the right to get access to all the rubric, which is really not convenient. You have the option of changing the view. Here at the bottom, you could either display your rubric, or you can have both the work and the rubric. For example, if you have a bigger screen, or just the text, so you can read through it and then switch to your rubric and mark and assign points and leave your comments. Okay. So grading is pretty straightforward. You just decide which level of achievement the student has. For example, either they are partially achieved easily. So again, this is the template that I used. You have access to it, and you can edit it the way you want. You can delete some rows. You can change the wording for each category. So it's absolutely up to you. Why can't we use a passing mark with rubric? Oh, you can. I just removed it for now because I didn't need it. You absolutely can. It's your choice. Okay. And once you marked the work, right, you have this opportunity to provide feedback. Okay. Let's save changes. Okay. If we go back to the student's account, okay, she can see the rubric that we used, right? And she also has access to the feedback, to the points that we assigned to her. And I didn't leave any comments, but if I did, we would see them here. okay, as well as additional feedback that I might have provided, but I will show it to you in a few minutes. So everything is pretty straightforward. We also, okay, let's go back to my teacher's page. We also set up a rubric from scratch last time with you, and I want to show you how it looks like. The advantage of using a template is that your rubric will be automatically aligned with the CLB framework. However, if you've noticed, they're pretty long and it might take you more time to adjust and adapt it to your current needs. So sometimes you might want to create a rubric from scratch. We created a rubric for this activity last time. Okay. I will show you how it looked like. So if we go here. Okay, so this is what we set up. You can see that it is not aligned with the CLB framework. It is just the rubric that I needed for that context. And also, if we go back to the, so you can see points here. However, I closed these points for the student. So if we go back to the student account, I think I did close them. Just give me 1 second. Okay, here it is. Yes, you can see that she can see only the wording that we chose for this activity. Needs more practice, good job, nailed it, right? She doesn't see the points. You cannot delete. We had this question last time. When you set up the rubric, you have to set up the scores for each of your columns. If you do not provide any scores, you will get a message that you have to provide those scores. However, in your student view, you can just close the scores for them, so they won't see them. However, they will still, when they submit their work, they will still see the overall score at here at the bottom. So let's quickly add a submission. Record, stop, play, upload. Okay, save changes. And let's go back to the teacher's view. So here we will be able to listen to her recording, and we assign points. We save changes. Okay, and this is how the student will see it. So she will be able to see just the comments. However, here at the bottom, she will still see the score that she received. This is how rubrics work in Moodle on Avenue. You can, if your students are confused where this score is, you can just discuss it with them in advance, explaining that this is a technical aspect of this platform. Just don't pay attention to it. Please pay attention to my feedback. Okay, and now I want to show you how to close those scores from the student's view. So to do so, we need to go to tweak our rubric. To do so, when you go to your assignment where you used it, you can go to advanced grading. Here's the rubric that I pre-set up, actually that we set up with you together last time. And we click on edit current rubric, and you will be able to uncheck display points for each level to those being graded. So once you uncheck this checkbox, your students won't be able to see the scores, even though I still have them here. You can even uncheck them, you can uncheck this checkbox, display points for each level during evaluation. In this case, you won't be able to see them either. Okay, I will cancel it for now. Okay, so you've noticed that marking guide and both marking guide and rubric methods, they provide a more transparent and more consistent way of assessing your students, right? So when you create your rubric or you create your marking guide, you define those criteria groups, criteria, levels of achievement. So you set it up for your students so that so that they can see, to give them an insight in their assessment, to have them opportunity to see why they got a certain score or a certain feedback from you. You can communicate clearly to the student not only what is expected of them, right, when you set up the marking guide or the rubric, because they will see it before submitting the assignment, but it also helps you to helps your student reflect on their learning goals, on their development, on their progress. So when they see all these criteria that you set up for them, they will be able to analyze what their gaps are. And besides these methods, they guarantee the reliability of your assessment, so your students won't be able to question you why they have 75 points but not, let's say, 90 points, right? Because here's the criteria and here's how I assessed you. Another thing that I really want to show you is the feedback opportunities that the Avenue platform provides us with. And it is very important for you as a language instructor because it will give you this chance to connect with your student. So let's choose any random activity. Okay, and when we go to the settings, you will be able to change a few settings here as well. There is feedback types field section. Here you can select what types of feedback you can provide to this to the student when they submit their assignment. It could be comments. It could be you can have this opportunity to annotate PDF. Okay. I wouldn't touch offline grading worksheet, because then you will need to download the file, and feedback files you will need to create a file with the feedback and upload it. So I wouldn't select those options, because it just makes your life a little bit more complicated. I think the options that are embedded into the platform are more than enough for you. And there is also feedback poodle that allows you to leave not only your recorded voice messages to your students, but also your video recordings of you providing valuable feedback, connecting with your students, or just saying hi to them, right? I'm not sure how your work is arranged at the moment. Some schools are fully online, some schools combine face-to-face and online, so they have blended format. But in any case, students do miss you. They want extra attention from you. And if when you grade their work, when you provide all your comments on the language samples and what they need to do to improve, it will be just a nice gesture if you record a short video or audio file, and just for students to hear your voice. Really, it will speak volume on how you care about them in these challenging times. Okay, so now let's see how the activity works. We already have a submission here, so let's go back and grade it. So when you on Avenue, you have a variety of annotation tools available to you. So once a student submits a piece of their work, you can not only provide feedback to them, in this using rubric or feedback comments, you also can annotate their work. You can use a highlighter, right, to highlight certain things. You can use, I don't know, different shapes. You can choose different colors if you want to color code your comments, for example, and you can leave some hints, some clues for them. For example, that yellow is, let's say, vocabulary choice. Right, red can be, I don't know, some grammar mistakes. You can also do. You can even use stamps and set for example, if you have literacy learners or low-level students, you can use those stamps instead of drawing. I'm a terrible drawer, so I prefer this option. If you do something by mistake, right, you can see that there is no go back button and there is no undo button. To remove this, you click on the hand icon, you select the whole thing. Oh no, you click on the arrow. Yeah, you click on the arrow icon, you select the whole thing, and you just remove it. Okay, and here you can see that there is the text field for your comments. And here is the video that you can record for your students. Okay, another thing that I wanted to show you, another setting that I still want to show you. Okay, if we go back to the feedback types, there is comment inline. It was no for now, so the only way for us to correct their mistakes was to use annotation tools and comments and highlighting tools, right? If we choose yes here, and we go back to our submissions, you now have an option. Okay, I have everything that's available for us in this one activity. That's a little bit too much. Here you now have the text that you can basically change, right? So you can put the correct spelling and then type the word that you wanted, right? And you can make it bold so that your students know. Basically, you can change, you can play with the text and offer some additional comments on how to improve here. If you click this arrow, you will get even more options, right? So you can cross it out, you can add whatever you want to add, you can edit it. So it's really very handy if you're not, if you do not like annotating. Okay, now let's save changes and go back to our student account. Okay, it was this one. Okay, so what she will see our rubric, she will see my feedback comments where I basically change her text, right? That inline commenting feature. And then she also has the her file. Oh, okay, here. Yes, I accidentally downloaded it. So basically she can see, now she has access to the annotated file. Yeah, probably it is Latin. It's just used as a placeholder text by graphic designers and editors, so I used it. Okay. I think this is everything I wanted to show you, how to use annotation and feedback options and grading options on Avenue. I just really want to mention it once again. Don't be shy. Please use audio and video feedback options that are available for you, because your students do need this a little bit of extra human component embedded into their online classes. I'm now open for your questions. You can type them in the chat box, and I will try to answer them. Okay, I'm going back to my course in case you have any technical questions. There was a great question from Danielle. Can you show us quickly how you set up the daily writing prompt if there is time? Sure. We set them up in our first webinar, but I can definitely show you now. So the idea behind daily writing prompt is that you create a series of assignments, right? They can be as easy as the one that I created as a sample one. So it's basically a picture, and we ask them to describe this picture. The idea is to automate some work to make your life a little bit easier. To do so, I put some restrictions on this assignment. So, for example, this one, November 4th, is available from midnight on November 4th till 11:55 p.m. tonight, right? Tomorrow, if you go to this course tomorrow, you won't be able to see this activity. What you will see will be your daily writing prompt November 5th. If we go to the student, to our student account, you can see that the only thing she sees is November 4th. In the settings, if you scroll all the way down, there is this restrict access section where you can indicate whatever dates, times you need. Just make sure that you turn this one off, then your students won't be able to see that there is something hidden from them. Okay, but it's just a brief description. You can rewatch the webinar that we did last week for more instructions, and I can see that Paul also shared another resource for you. This is just one of the ways how you can use this restrict access to set up. And you can also set up speaking prompts, right? Instead of file submission or online form, you can choose Poodle, and then they will have to record themselves. The assignments were created separately and given availability time, right? Yes, yes. So it is as simple as just clicking duplicate. Then you change the title, you change November 5th to November 6th, and you upload a new picture. So basically you can do it within 1 minute, and this is it. And you can set them up for the whole week ahead. It will take no more than 30 minutes, but your students will have a writing prompt or a speaking prompt every day. And the beauty of this setup is that you won't have to do anything else. So once you set up your 7 writing prompts for the week, you're done. Thank you, Anna, for your comment. Yes, discovering things on your own really helps. It's all about being curious, right? If you choose any activity available to you, any option available to you on Moodle, just go to the settings and play with them. Don't afraid you won't break anything. Just make sure that you create a test assignment, a test activity, a test glossary, so that you do not tamper with your current activities. And then you're good to go to experiment and find new ways, new creative ways of using these assignments for language classes. Yes, absolutely, it takes time. Yes, thank you very much, everyone. I think I will stop sharing my screen. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming to this webinar today. It was my great pleasure. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them on the forum, on the teachers forum on Avenue, or you can contact me. You have my email address, the one that I used to send you the invitation to this webinar. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day and have a productive week with your students. Thank you, Paul, so much for your help. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Okay, bye everyone. See you online.